Hi guys, it's another Friday and you're welcome to another insightful tutorial on LAPERY'S College of Fashion YouTube sewing channel. In today's video, we shall be learning how to go about the drafting and stitching of this raglan sleeve dress, which has flounce detailing on the sleeve. And to do this, I'll be making use of this velvet fabric for the main body, while for the sleeve, I'll be using this design 2 fabric net, designed net, as you can see, is designed not plain. And for the lining of the dress, I'll be using this lycra fabric, which is actually static on the lengthwise grain but stretches on the crosswise grain. So putting the fabrics aside, I have here with me my basic bodice pattern, the simplified pattern, which I've transferred out this way, front and back. And at the back of my basic bodice pattern is my sleeve pattern for easy access. And for the sleeve, I've also gone ahead to transfer it out this way, full length. We'll also be needing our skirt pattern. So in the same way, I've gone ahead to transfer out my skirt pattern this way. And since what we are making is a fitted pencil dress, I followed my side shaping while transferring it out. And we also need to follow our center back tightening, which I'm here to do. So I'll go ahead now to cut off that region as my center back tightening. So that is what I'm doing now. So we are yet to know how to draft your basic patterns, the skirt, the bodice and the sleeve using LAPERY'S simplified and professional methods. The links are already provided in the description box below. So for your dress pattern, we'll need to straighten our waistline this way for the skirt, because this skirt pattern can be used for our skirt as in skirt, and we can also use it to make our dress, and that is what we are doing, simply tracing it out the straight line and the waistline. So with this, we can fuse our bodies together with skirt to make a dress pattern, and that is what I have here. I actually followed all the necessary waist shaping and the dart adjustment. So I already have a detailed video on how to draft your dress pattern, knowing the fitting lines to follow and knowing how to go about your waist dart adjustment for both bodies and skirts to align. The link is already provided in the description box below. So for the style at hand, which is raglan, I'll need to modify my basic bodice pattern now by simply going ahead to align both front and back piece at the neck point this way. Then we'll need to attach our sleeve pattern, making sure that the sleeve pattern aligns with the bodice at the underarm point. But the first thing is to align bodies together at the neck points, front and back this way. Then aligning sleeve and underarm point with the bodies. Likewise for this other side, like so. So first, using my tape measure, I went ahead to align it at the neck point. Then aligning at the underarm point and making sure that my sleeve is relaxing on the bodice. So I'll be lowering my neck point by 1/4 of an inch at the center, from widening it by 1/4 of an inch at the shoulder, and at the center back I'll go down by 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch, depending on how wide you want the neck. But remember, it's a choker we are having here, which shouldn't be too wide. So I simply connect all the points together as my neck width. Afterwards, I'll be picking the width of my choker. So I'm doing 1 1/4 thereabouts as the width of the choker. So I'll properly draw out my style line this way. So this is the neck width and this is the width of my choker. I lighted out like so. So the next thing is to draw our armhole for raglan garments. And to do this, I need to pick a particular point on the front neck point at the base of the choker this way. I also pick a particular point at the base of the choker on the back piece this way. Then connect with the underarm. But we need to fill up this region first. So placing on another paper, I haven't filled up, then I can connect easily with the underarm point as my armhole for raglan sleeve garments. So I'll do the same for the back piece. And at this point, we can go ahead now to cut off my choker and separate sleeve from the main bodice. So here we are, choker separated, sleeve and bodice separated. Now I need to draw my keyhole style line on the front piece. So I need to pick the width of my keyhole. So I pick the width this way. Then for the depth, I can go down as much as with 3 inches and connect and draw out the style line properly. But then I need to mark the width of the keyhole on my choker this way. These 2 points must align. Then at this point, I can cut off. This is my keyhole at the front. In the same way, I need to mark on my choker this point and the same point on the back piece this way, so that I can attach my choker easily and evenly. So here we are done with the pattern for the choker, the pattern for the front, the pattern for the back piece, and likewise the pattern for the sleeve for our raglan dress. So the next thing we need to mark out is the style line where we'll be attaching the flounce on the sleeve. And to do this, here is my sleeve pattern. I simply mark the midpoint of the armhole at the front, midpoint on the armhole on the back, then simply connect to somewhere around the short sleeve length. And to do this, I place my tape measure, locating my elbow length this way, then locating my short sleeve length this way. Then I connect, drawing the style line. So here we are. So in the same way now, picking about 4 inches from the wrist, I'll mark, and that is where the flounce will end on the sleeve. So I'll simply connect this way as a guide, and it's on this part that will be attaching the flounce on the sleeve. So I'll go ahead cutting off the upper part, and I'll do my proper labeling. Here is the armhole for the front, here is the armhole for the back, and at this point we can go ahead placing on fabric. So placing on fabric, this is what we have. I do not need to put seam here, I do not need to put seam. I'll only be adding at the wrist, here, and likewise at the neck point there, since this two net actually stretches. So here we are now. I didn't cut through on my fabric, though I cut the pattern, but I didn't cut the fabric so that we'll be able to achieve neat finishing. So the next thing is to measure the part we are attaching the flounce to know the dimension and circumference needed. So I place my tape measure here as well, and do the summation up. So here I have 22 inches, which will guide me to cutting my flounce. So based on the LAPERY'S method of cutting flounce, the formula on the table, I have this dimension cut out for my high and low flounce. So I'll go ahead to cross-check my measurements, which should be a perfect square this way. Then I'll put my fabric on fold into 2 at first, then again into 2, making into 4. Then based on my measurements, I'll be cutting out my radius. And here we are with our high and low flounce. I'll cut through on the shorter length this way, and spreading it out, we have our high and low flounce, just like that. So I'll put it back on fold to properly trim off that end so that it will conform with what we want to achieve. So I'll simply blend this end, cutting off that sharp angle, and simply blend it in like so, something more like a slant. So this is what we have for our flounce. So let's try to attach to see what we have, whether it's in conformity. So I'll simply be placing it this way from the armhole region, like so, and back onto the main sleeve body. So we need 2 to finish up one side. So this is what we have, 8 pieces of the flounce cut out this way, the same width, the same shape. So we actually be turning them into 4 pairs. 2 pieces this way will be used to finish up each other, which will give us 1 pair, like so, this way. So here are the 8 pieces required. So in the same way, I'll be placing my bodice pattern now on my fabric and I'll be cutting it out. And since the velvet stretches at crosswise, we do not need seam added to the side seam. I'll only be adding seam allowance at the hemline this way and zipper allowance, but at the side seam no seam. So here is the fabric for the front and here is the lining cut out same way, and here is that of the back piece, and I've gone ahead to transfer the markings of my dart onto the fabric and likewise onto the lining. The next thing is to cut out the choker, and here is the choker pattern placed on fabric, and we added interfacing on the fabric to give it a bit of structure. So I'll be going ahead adding seam allowance here, and I'll be adding zipper allowance to this region like so. So cutting it out, this is what we'll be having. So 2 pieces this way. We need our top collar and under collar to finish it up this way. So having done this, now we can move to sewing. So to commence sewing, we'll be constructing all of the waist darts both on the lining and on the fabric. We're going ahead to do the construction of the side darts both on the lining and on the fabric, and this is what we'll be having afterwards. All the darts constructed both on the lining and on the fabric. And at this point, you can go ahead now to join in the side seam, both front and back together at the side seam this way, and likewise the other side for both lining and fabric. And here is our sleeve pattern well prepared. Actually use front seam here to finish it up at this region. The flounces properly attached, achieving neat finishing like so. So afterwards, this is what we have, having attached the sleeve, and we've used the lining to cover up the armhole, achieving neat finishing this way. So the next thing now will be to install our zipper and to attach the choker onto the neckline. And to do this, I need to first secure my flounces in their proper positioning this way. Then we'll go ahead now to attach the choker. So for my choker, we need to first place over each other and do the proper sewing. So I'll first sew the inner part, the neckline, this way. Then afterwards, we'll be sewing the outer part and be creating the opening for the keyhole at the front. So afterwards, now this is what we'll have. The center front already prepared where we're having the keyhole. So I'll be going ahead to attaching it with the main body, starting from this region to achieving neat finishing this way. So attaching my choker now, I had to first secure down with pins, then taking my time to stitch it down gradually. So afterwards, this is what we'll have, the choker properly attached to the neckline. You can see front and back neatly finished. So the next thing is to go ahead now to install our zipper, and for this I'll be making use of an invisible, or you call it concealed zipper. So using the zipper as a guide, I'll be picking it from the choker region this way up to somewhere below the dart leg this way. So I'll go ahead now to mark, and afterwards install my zipper neatly. So afterwards, this is what we have, the zipper being installed and being able to achieve neat finishing. We actually use the lining to cover it up, so all the inner construction are hidden. So the only part I need to finish up is this opening, which gave me access to the inner construction. So I'll simply put the two ends together this way and go ahead to cover it up like so. So having done all of the sewing, this is what we have, and here is our slit at the center back. So press that down and be going ahead now to use our hand needle and thread to secure it. So this side will actually be lapping over this other side neatly like so, and with the help of my needle and thread I hold this end down, and we are done. So we are interested in the step-by-step sewing to serve as guidance for you to making your own version. You could contact me on my WhatsApp number. So for the neckline, you may leave it this way, and you can go ahead to adding embellishment. So for this, I'll be adding these trimmings around the neckline to further adding more details to the dress. So with the help of my hand needle and thread, I'll secure this in place around the whole neckline. And we are done with our dress. Here's the wrong side once again. We're able to achieve neat finishing, the armhole properly covered up, no seam showing on the wrong side. The lining had been used to cover it up neatly. The zipper installed, and the lining was used to actually cover up the edges neatly. So this is what we have on the wrong side, neat finishing. Here is that of the sleeve. The flounces were actually attached neatly. Let me bring it out for us to see. All we have there is just the front seam this way. Neat finishing achieved. So like I said, we are interested in the step-by-step sewing the video for you to have it and serve as a guide for you making your own version. Kindly contact on the WhatsApp number displayed on the screen. So here's the final look on the outside. Our raglan sleeve dress is ready with flounce detailing on the sleeve. So I can go ahead now rocking my dress. Are you loving it? Loving it? Even for church, you are good to go. And here's the back view. Kindly give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next week Friday.
LAPERY'S College of Fashion, raising professionals.